I remember same organization. I was there for about a year and a half, and I went to go talk to our head of HR when I found out I was pregnant. I had some questions about the family leave policy, and the way, not to get into details, but the way our PTO was structured is I essentially had to use all of my paid time off before I could access all of my unpaid time off, which meant I was giving birth in November, at the end of November. And so I would be coming back from leave after 12 weeks with literally 3 days of paid time off for the rest of the year, with a newborn in daycare. And so I had that conversation and I was like, look, I have 5 weeks of PTO, right? I don't care as much about not getting paid while I'm on leave. I just want access to the time off. Is there any way I can save some of that time off to have access to it later in the year when my kid is inevitably going to get sick? She's going to daycare. It's a petri dish of germs. Like, this is going to be disruptive. It's going to happen. And the answer I was given with a very straight face was, I came back to work 4 weeks after having all of my children. You're getting 12 weeks off. What's the big deal? And I paused and I was like, you also had your children 40 years ago. It's like a lot has changed since then, right? Like the world has evolved. But it was very much this expectation of like, yes, it's hard. I did it. So what are you complaining about? Like it's almost like we've made it easier. You have all these things. We've already done all of this. Why are you still complaining? And I wasn't complaining. I was merely just asking like, hey, I'm in a position where I could afford to take some time off unpaid, and I was willing to do that just to preserve my ability to take time off later. Because you know what? I only had 3 days of PTO in February. And then what did I do the rest of the year? I worked from home with my kid. And so that is the reality, right? And the reality is like I was in a position to do that, but there's so many women who can't. I had a coworker at the same time who was in a much more junior role, right? And she, came back, had 3 days of just very similarly, had 3 or 4 days of PTO, and she ended up quitting that job because she needed to go somewhere else, right? Before the end of the year, she was gone. And that happens so often is it's just so short-sighted to think that that's going to be enough and that mindset is really going to retain your employees, right?